Welcome to Storytime with Uncle Frank. I'm Frank the Gambliano. Today's story is called Slappy Happy. Several years ago, while I was taking a class on mollusk anatomy at the local community college, I met a very interesting fellow. He was elderly. I would guess he was about 80. His name was Jerry. He was a fellow mollusk lover, and we were paired up as lab partners. One night, as we were awaiting the professor's instructions on how to detach the dorsal pinky toe of the slug that was our lab specimen, Jerry shared a story from his past. About 50 years ago, Jerry was the captain of the Navy SEALs team. Not the elite fighting group, but the guys that took care of the Navy's two mascot SEALs, Slappy and Alice. SEAL tender was a coveted position among all the mascot jobs, and Jerry was very proud of achieving this position. The job required a deep knowledge of SEAL psychology and physiology, especially relating to dating habits and flipper maintenance. Jerry was the best in the field. Jerry had a SEAL affinity from a very young age. In his relentless pursuit of everything SEAL related, he volunteered at the zoo at age 12. Unfortunately, the only position available at the zoo was monkey brusher, but he was still in very close proximity to the SEALs. Later in high school, he was able to secure a job, an internship at SeaWorld. Again, unfortunately, he just missed the SEAL bathing assignment and instead was charged with reading romance novels to those snooty dolphins. But now he was even closer to the SEALs. At least he was working with animals that spend time in water. Eventually, Jerry got promoted to his long-desired position of SEAL bather. He was elated. The job came naturally to him. As a small child, instead of a rubber ducky, Jerry had a rubber seal that his dad fashioned for him out of an old bicycle inner tube. You could say that Jerry was obsessed with seals. I would say that. Come on, an inner tube? Really? Well, back to the Navy. One day, while Jerry was maintaining Slappy's flippers, he noticed a strange object adhering to one of the flippers. It was black and hard, like a shell of some kind. After consulting with the chief marine biologist at SeaWorld, he learned that this was a mussel. However, this was no ordinary mussel. This was the perfect specimen of the Heterodonta conyuesticus, an animal known to latch on to bulbously shaped aquatic life and suck their sustenance from the host creature. The Heterodonta conyuesticus, or HK, was the least productive of all sea life, existing only to ingratiate itself at the expense of hardy, thriving sea animals. Given enough time, an HK could deplete the very life force of its host, causing the host's demise. Then the HK would immediately attach itself to another animal, preferably a sibling of the original host, especially if they were similar in size and body shape. Jerry knew he needed to remove the HK from Slappy's flipper, or Slappy would be fish food and Alice would be next. With no time to spare, Jerry got to work. He started with tweezers and cautiously attempted to remove the HK with minimal damage to the flipper. This only caused the HK to shimmy a little and emit a high-pitched whining sound. Jerry tried using many other tools to remove the mollusk, including pliers, nail clippers, chopsticks, and even Windex, but nothing worked. Sadly, in the last-ditch effort to save Slappy's life, Jerry had to amputate the flipper. He then burned the flipper with the HK attached. During the burn, he could have sworn he heard the HK squealing, 18 years, 18 years. Slappy recovered from the surgery, but could only swim in a circle. One day, while Slappy was left unattended in the pool, he swam so fast and for so long that he created a vortex in the water, got sucked to the bottom, and slammed his head against the floor in the pool. The skull was fractured and he died later that day. From that moment on, Jerry declared war against all mollusks. He was arrested and served time for vandalizing Joe's Clam Bar in Wildwood, New Jersey. He broke in late one night and smashed every clam with a ball-peen hammer while singing Hide in Your Shell by Supertramp. It seemed nothing could cure his rage. After serving 2 years of a 5-year sentence, he was released on parole, contingent upon completing a class on mollusk anatomy. And that's what brought us together on this fateful night. As the professor handed our instructions out for the lab, Jerry was already prepared with scalpel in hand. I removed the slug from its shell. What Jerry did next was not at all appropriate. He pulled out another scalpel and began to dice the slug like a chef at Benihana. The pieces were so small that the result looked like ground beef. It was actually a beautiful thing to watch, such precision. Anyway, soon the police were on the scene, and this was most certainly a parole violation. Jerry ended up back in the slammer that night, and for the next 3 years. Had he learned anything? I doubt it. But I did. I learned that Heterodonta canuesticus sucks.